I'm doing some other videos today and just happen to have a good time to transition. So looks like I'm a bit early. Say hi as you get in. I'm just going to grab my Memento ink, and I'm thinking since I'm a little smidge early, I'm going to ink and stamp Bella, and I'll color her while we're talking, because sometimes coloring isn't the most fun thing to watch. So I'm just inking my sweet little Bella here. Bella and Friends is retiring. Are you guys gonna miss Bella and Friends? I am. All right, so I just stamped her to the right of my stitch circle, and I'm gonna color while we talk. Hey, Rhonda. Happy Friday to you too. Oh, I'm so glad. It's been a rough week. All right, you guys, I just got some light and some dark crumb cake, and while I'm waiting for you guys to get in here, I'm just gonna do some of the big area coloring on Miss Bella here. Bella and Friends is the stamp set that we're using today. It's retiring from the 2018-2019 annual catalog, and I've got some light crumb cake, and I'm just filling in Bella's face and ear, left ear, with some crumb cake. Figure we can chat and color a little bit, and then I'll go through the Stampin' Up! Supplies that you need to make the card, and we'll finish putting together the card. See, there's a couple of you watching. I know I'm early. Take your time getting in. Just going to, now that I've colored in with the light crumb cake, I'm just taking the dark crumb cake and following the artist's lead here and making Bella's face a little furry. I'm just following those lines, and then I'll go over with that same kind of flick stroke and blend the dark into the light. That's what I'm going to do on all the parts of her body. So I figure that's something to do while we're waiting for everybody to get in here. Have you guys seen the retirement list? Stampin' Up! Retirement list is out. It was out on the 15th. You can find it on the blog. I'm going to update my original Stampin' Up! List to one that's sorted and only includes English language stamp sets and stuff like that. So I'll get that updated when I post this card to the blog so that you can see and sort easily. It was brutal this year. I think it's because they gave us a little bit of a break last year. When we got all the new in colors, I think Stampin' Up! Took it easy on the different stamp sets and dies sets and stuff that they retired. Hey, Kay! And so all I'm doing is coloring Bella in with light crumb cake, and I'm doing it kind of in sections. I did her left ear and face, and then her right ear. Now I'll do her body and front legs, back legs, but I'm going to leave the tail for just a minute still. Kay shared the video. Thank you, Kay. All right, now I'm going to go through and just a little bit more of the dark crumb cake, and I'm just following the artist's lead here. I don't have to be an artist. An artist drew this sweet little Bella. All I have to do is follow her lead. So I'm going back over the more dry areas of Bella's face with the dark crumb cake again, and we're just going to follow those little shaggy lines that the artist drew in. Now we'll do the same thing on her body. Follow that shaggy edge, make her look kind of furry. We're going to go down the back side of her front legs, and then follow the fur here down the back side of her little rump and across the bottom of all of her paws and legs. Then where we did that like shaggy flicking of the dark, we're going to bring that together with the light. All right, now I'm going to go in here and underneath Bella's collar. I'm going to just draw in a little bit of a shadow and then flick the dark crumb cake in the fur again. And then the last thing I'm going to do with Bella, just a little more of the light to give some texture. I'm going to color her tail with the light crumb cake. All right, it's probably getting pretty close to 12 now. Hey, Delene. And how convenient is that? It's getting pretty close to 12, and I am about ready to move on to the little birdie. All right, so I just did some more of the dark crumb cake flick over where the artist drew in the lines and bring the two shades together. Don't be afraid of the dark. Don't blend it all to medium. It's okay to have some darker streaks here. All right, so there's Miss Bella and crumb cake. We'll do all the rest of the coloring kind of in order now. I think I've given everybody enough time to get here. It's almost noon. It's Good Friday, or it's a little bit after. Perfect. Time to get started with the project. All right, so let's see here. The supplies that you need to make this card include Bella and Friends, which is retiring from the 2018-19 annual catalog. I will link you to all of the retiring products right above this post as soon as we're done live, so you can see what's retiring. Stamp sets, Stampin' Up is guaranteeing availability until I think May 24th. Everything else that's retiring as well supplies last. So if you haven't seen those retirement lists yet, take a look. They were a little severe this year, but I did kind of expect that. I don't think that they were as brutal in the last retirement as they usually are. Stampin' Up is usually pretty quick to cut things out so they can bring in new. I love it. But last year with all the new colors, I think they took it easy on us with the framelits and stamps. So this year, this retirement list is pretty severe. And so take a look at that and get the things that you love before they're gone, because Stampin' Up has been very clear that everything but stamps as well supplies last. And also anything that is carrying over that is available right now in a bundle discount will not be available with the discount in the next catalog. So if you have your eye on a punch stamp that go together that are bundled right now in a discount, pick it up before June 3rd, even if it is carrying over, and save yourself 10%. All right, so those are some just public service announcements for retirement. Don't miss out on what you love. Get it earlier rather than later. And if it's available with a bundle discount right now, that bundle discount will not be available even if the products are available June 4th. Okay, so pick it up with a bundle discount now instead of at full price later. So this is what we're going to make. It's just a sweet little note card for a friend. Got a little dimension. Hi, Gina. Hi, Carol. And we're featuring Bella and Friends, which is now on the retirement list. I love this. My good friend Angie Judah, this is her $1 Million stamp set. When you join the Kitchenettes, you also join Chicks Paper Ink, which is Angie Judah's team. She's my upline. And I just love Miss Bella. So we are dedicating today to her retirement. She is even sweeter in person than she is in stamps. All right, so that's Bella and Friends. We're also using our Stitched Shapes Framelits dies, which are not available right now, but will be available in the new style of die, same set, manufactured by Stampin' Up. So hold on if you don't have those and you want them. They're coming back. Delicate Lace Edgelets. We're going to use this gorgeous die right here. I love this set and I don't use it enough. I've been working on featuring it in a couple of projects because it's just such a awesome way to add some texture to a card. It's a die set that makes every stamp set look new again. You can use it in a whimsical manner like this, or you can use it in a more elegant manner. This is a card that I did for my newsletter subscribers. So if you don't subscribe to the Kitchen Table Stamper newsletter, you want to get on there because there's exclusive projects just for newsletter subscribers. But here's another project with that delicate lace die edgelets. I love that. All right, so that's that. And we're also using the Be Mine Stitched Framelits. We're going to use this little primitive heart die. I pulled that one out from Be Mine Stitched. Those are carrying over into the new catalog. I'm so excited for that. Gina says, cute, cute, cute. And Kathy says, Bella is so cute. Isn't she just so sweet? And then I love the and friends part, right? Who can't just totally get behind that adorable bird? Look at the turtle. All right, so back to the card. Let's do this thing. My Stampin' Up! Consumable supplies include a Coastal Cabana card base, 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Got a piece of Coastal Cabana Designer Series paper from the 6x6 Designer Series paper. What is it? The Brights 6x6. This one is, I believe, 1.5 by 5.5, but check the project sheet for me. I forgot to print one and bring it. I've got a scrap of Whisper White for stamping Bella's little friend here. Look at this little birdie. We're going to stamp the bird and we're going to cut it out and pop it up. It gives a little dimension to such a simple card. Carol says, beautiful. Thank you, Carol. I've got a scrap of Coastal Cabana. That's for die cutting our heart. And then I've got this piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock here. I was more concerned about the length than the width. You want a 6-inch length. And mine's a little bit wide. I just grabbed a scrap from my bag that fit. But if you had, 2.5 inches or so, even, you could probably even get away with like 2 1/4, but you want it 6 inches long and you want to cut the entire length of this die. I found it easier that way because then I could make sure that the die, the lace started at the same place in the pattern that it ended. So your lace will be longer, allowing you to adjust and cut off the excess. I'll show you when we get there, okay? I've got my stitched square here, and this is the second largest one, I believe. And I've stamped Bella and Memento, and while we were waiting for you guys to get in here, I started coloring, because coloring can be a little bit tedious to watch. But if you weren't here, all I did was color Bella with the light crumb cake. And then I went in with a small flicking motion. It's all in the wrist here. And you just follow the artist's lead and you're going to flick in the fur. And then we're going to add a little shadow behind Miss Bella's collar there. And then you're going to take the same little flicking motion and blend the dark crumb cake into the light. And right around this collar here, we're going to use the light crumb cake to blend into the dark. Okay, so pretty simple. We'll do some more little bit of coloring and some blending as we go. If you've got questions about coloring, you can always ask me. I am a Copic certified instructor, so I've been coloring with alcohol ink for a very long time. I'm going to take Miss Bella's little collar here. We're going to color in with some dark Pool Party. I'm just going to go across the whole collar. And then I'm going to take my light Bermuda Bay and just add a shadow on the left-hand side. Soften where those two come together. And then I'm going to color the little heart on her collar with Calypso Coral. So I've got the light Calypso Coral. And I'm going to take the dark Calypso Coral on that same left-hand side. Keep our shadows consistent. Add a little dark Calypso Coral on the left-hand side of her collar, the little heart on her collar. Okay, so Miss Bella is colored with dark Pool Party, light Bermuda Bay. This is our crumb cake combo, Calypso Coral combo. And then we're going to get to our little bird, and the beak is done with the Mango Melody combo pack. So those are your colors. My Stampin' pad for this project is all Memento Tuxedo Black. Let's do a little stamping. You've got a friend and me greeting. And I'm going to make sure that the edge of my greeting here, I'm going to watch the bottom of the text, because sometimes you can't tell from the back if your text is straight. And even if you put on the label and you don't put it on exactly representative of the greeting on the rubber side, you might get an up or a downhill greeting. So in order to prevent that uphill downhill as best I can, I'm going to take the edge of the block and the bottom edge of the text, and I'm going to work very hard at trying to run the edge of the text parallel with the edge of the block. You can use your grid paper to help you with this, and that will help you then when you go to stamp your greeting, ink up your greeting, and then you can visualize using the edge of the block and the edge of the cardstock. So you've got square straight edges on the edge of the cardstock because you cut this with a die, and you've got a square straight edge on the block that the text is lined up with. And so just a little tip, that's one of the ways that I try to prevent that uphill downhill greeting, especially now because we've already colored Bella, so we want that greeting to run parallel with the bottom of our square. So let's see how that turned out, shall we? And what I did was I lined up the very edge of my block with the edge of my die cut, my square die cut, stamp and lift, and you can see that it really is very level. So that little minute of watching the bottom of the text and making sure you really aligned it with the block gave you the edge of the block and the edge of the piece that you're stamping on to keep everything squared up. Does that help? Do you guys sometimes panic a little when you have to stamp directly on a project? I can get a little panicky because that you put something together that's so beautiful, then you go to add the greeting and it's uphill or downhill, and it just makes you want to cry a little. But if you use your block and the straight edge of the piece that you're stamping on, that should help you get that perfectly straight level greeting every time. Carol says funny because I still use my Stamp-O-Majig for that. Oh my goodness, the Stamp-O-Majig. I get the Stamp-O-Majig in theory, Carol, but I never understood it practically. It was not my very best friend, but I get how it's supposed to work. It's crazy. All right, so we've stamped our little friend in Memento on a Whisper White scrap. And we're going to color that heart the same way we colored Bella's little heart on the collar. We're going to go with the light coral. Now in this case, the bird's beak is going to, and body even a little bit, is going to cast a shadow. So we want to start with that underneath the beak and down that left edge that's kind of tucked in and under bird's chin. It's a cast shadow, and we want to represent that. We'll just bring the two shades together with the light coral. And then the bird's beak is going to be primarily light Mango Melody. So we'll just give that a little color. I like the brightness of that. And we're barely going to touch with the dark Mango Melody right along the bird's face. I'm not even going to blend those two together because it's wet enough, it'll blend itself. In small spaces, you can count on the wet ink blending itself, and then that way you won't run out of the lines. I'm going to color our little birdie friend in solid with the light, or with the dark pool party. Use small circular strokes so that you can really saturate your paper as you go. That's one of the keys to coloring with alcohol ink, is to just really saturate that paper. That's what gives you that smooth finish, that no lines, no streaks, smooth color is the saturation. When the ink is saturated, it can flow and fill and blend together. All right, so for our buddy here, I'm going to go very lightly along the back of his head with the Bermuda Bay, along the back feather in his tail, underneath his wings a bit, down the front and the belly, and then on the legs. So we're just kind of giving him some dimension, some shape here. And I'm using little tiny circles to bring the light and dark shades together. The last thing I want to do is just run a very thin line along the top of his wing there. And that's like a balance. It's to show that our bird has some dimension. He's not just flat on the paper. All right, now I gotta fussy cut him. For those of you who are celebrating Passover tonight, happy Passover and happy Easter, everybody, for everybody celebrating. All right, so we got our little bird all cut. This little foot's a little sharp. I want to soften that up a little bit. There we go. Ha! I love Bella's little friend. All right, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and grab some little dimensionals, and I'm going to adhere my bird to the square, but mostly so that I just don't lose her. Okay. Dolores says, on stage was fun, met a lot of ladies, and you missed me. Oh, thank you. My craft fair that day went pretty good. I met a couple of local ladies that I'm hoping will join some classes and things. So I had a big decision to make, stay home and work or go to on stage, and I chose to stay home and work. I'm kind of glad I did. I'm excited that we're going to start seeing some new faces at classes, I hope. But I sure did miss out. I miss having a printed copy of the catalog so early. If you're not familiar with Onstage, Stampin' Up! Does Onstage twice a year. It's get together for Stampin' Up! Demonstrators where they reveal the next publication usually. So in this case, it was the new annual catalog. And we get to see all the products, get a copy of the catalog. We get product training and creative training through make and takes. We get to gather together as Stampin' Up's best customers and biggest fans and spend a day or a weekend, depending on the format, just being together. So on stage is a really awesome perk for being a demonstrator. If you got questions about joining Stampin' Up, please email me, marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. I love new kitchenettes. We have a lot of fun together. All right, so I'm putting Bella on with some dimensional adhesive. I'm going to be kind of generous because she's got funny little details like the feet and the tail, and I'm trying to support those little feet and tail. I don't want them to get all bent up if she goes in the mail. So I'm taking my time with little bits of mini dimensionals. So Dolores, what do you think of the new catalog? Anybody else, demonstrators who have seen it? Gina, you're a demonstrator. What do you guys think of the new catalog? I don't want to give too much away, of course, but I'm pretty excited, I think. Personally, for me, I think that Stampin' Up! Really outdid themselves. The 2019-2020 catalog is, in my opinion, the best one since I've been a demonstrator. I'm really looking forward to it. How do you guys who have seen it, Dolores, how do you feel about it? All right, so there's my little dude. I'm going to add right next to Bella. Kind of keep it in and keep this little birdie in to Bella and up because we want to leave room for that little heart embellishment. We don't want cover Bella's friend. All right, so let me move this all aside, grab my Big Shot. We're going to do a little bit of die cutting and then get this card assembled. It's going to go really quick from here now that our coloring and fussy cutting is done. It's really a rather quick card. All right, so I've got my Big Shot here. The thing is, I'm not exactly sure where the top plate is. Ah, look at that. It was under the thin die adapter. Who does that stuff? All right, so platform, thin die adapter, cutting plate. We're going to put all of our die cutting on at one time, making sure there's no dies left underneath the machine there. We can run this through in one pass, which is really awesome. If you guys know me, you know I love cards that can do all the die cutting in just one pass. We're going to line up the edge of our die to the edge of our cardstock there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay because we're gonna add it to the card. We're not actually cutting the edge of our card. But the nice part about this die is you could just cut the edge of your card. And if you see here, it does not have a cutting blade on this side of the die at all. So if I were to say cut with the edge of it here, this cardstock would stay intact. We'd have this long edge leading up to that lace. So if this was the edge of your card, you could take this edgelet, line it up on the edge of the card, and it's going to cut away this piece here, but it's not going to cut away from this end. So you'd actually have a lace edge on your card. Do you guys get how that works? Was that clear as mud? Let me know if you got a question about that. So if we were cutting the card, we just open it up here, and it would cut this open edge of our card and leave the lace on the edge. Got it? And in this case, we're going to tuck this underneath a designer series paper, so we don't need that extra long edge. So we're going to put it right up against the edge of our cardstock because we're making ourselves a lace embellishment. All right, so we've got because my plate is a little bowed, and I don't want that to move, I'm going to use a little piece of washi tape, keep that in place. I've also got my Calypso Coral scrap, and we're going to cut that little heart at the same time. Well, that's the plan, if I can find the little heart. Kathy says she loves the new catalog and can't wait to get a hard copy. Right? This is the first on stage that I did not attend. And so this is the first catalog in my history as a demonstrator that I did not get in hard copy at the first possible moment. So I'm dying a little bit. It's hard to see it in PDF. I'm excited that I'm a demonstrator and I get to see it, but I'm a little disappointed that I'm having to deal with a PDF on a computer. I want a hard copy. Carol said she looked at the catalog online. There's a couple of things that she's a little disappointed with, not having our trimmer and not having many embossing folders. I am a little bit surprised at how few embossing folders we have too, but I think that this is only the beginning. So I'm excited for what's going to come out like with the holiday catalog. We'll see. And I'm okay with let's let them get it right. Oh, do you see what I did? I must have shifted my cardstock a little bit when I went back through, and my heart's all kind of wonky shape. Hold on, we're gonna cut that again. As for the trimmer though, Carol, I'll be honest, I had been very, very disappointed with my trimmer, my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. And after talking to some of the demonstrators after the announcement, it seems from what I'm gathering that my trimmer might have been defective. So I'm okay with Stampin' Up! Not offering a trimmer. I'm assuming that they're innovating like they did with the Take Your Pick tool, like they did with the Stamparatus. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a really awesome trimmer in the near future. But I was not at all surprised or upset about the retirement of the Stampin' trimmer because I think there was something wrong with mine, honestly. And so I say good for Stampin' Up! For recognizing that there's something going on with the manufacturing and addressing that and starting from scratch to bring us the best possible product on the market. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And in the meantime, I'll also be pretty honest, I've always used and favored my Fiskars rotary trimmer because I cut so much paper and I can cut 3 cardstock layers or more at one time. So that's my thoughts on the trimmer. I hope that they come up with something really awesome. All right, so I'm just taking the little lace die here and I'm going to sweep out as much of this negative space as I can. Sorry, it's really blurry, isn't it? And then I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and clean out the rest of it. I really love how detailed this is, and I did run it back and forth. All these little bits, it's so detailed, but they are cut all the way through. So it's a great edgelet. It really does cut such a pretty intricate pattern, and it cuts it clean. I just have to give these guys a little shove and get them out of the way. I'm really excited for the new catalog though. I'm very impressed with the things that Stampin' Up! Is offering. And then as for the new in colors, so I'm watching from home as people are sharing all their sneak peeks from on stage and they saw the new in colors. I was like, what are these colors? I didn't really understand them. I thought they were kind of different. I figured once I started working with them, they'll be great, you know, because that's usually how in colors are. I'm usually a little shocked about them, and I reserve judgment. But I was thinking, not sure about these in colors. And I was sitting there thinking about it. You know, a couple of hours goes by, and it's still on my mind, right? And then I'm watching TV later in the day, and on comes a commercial for H&M, and every piece of clothing in the commercial was Stampin' Up! In colors. The dresses, the blouses, the floral patterns, everything on these clothes was the Stampin' Up! In colors. I'm like, well, I wasn't sure about the colors, but Stampin' Up! Has got us covered. You know, they are definitely on top of what colors are trendy and in, and we can trust them, even if we're not sure about the colors ourselves. But now that I've seen that every clothes in the store is the new Stampin' Up! In colors, I'm really excited to get to play with such a in and trendy palette. All right, so you can see here that our lace is a little bit longer than our card front. And what I'm going to do is run my snail adhesive, but I'm going to just run it down this edge of the lace. Now, if you look at my sample here, I left it so that only that edge was tacked down. I like how it accentuates the texture. I'm going to put my ends of my lace just a bit. We want to look for an even margin here, a little bit less than 1/4 inch. And I'm also paying close attention to, does the lace pattern start and stop at the same place? I feel pretty good that it does. So I'll burnish this down. And it's okay that our adhesive is coming in through where our lacy openings are, because we're going to trim that off with the Designer Series paper. We're going to cover it up and finish it. And that way it won't be sticky at all. So flip to the back side. That'll give you a straight edge to follow, and trim off the excess. You can take this to your paper trimmer if you like. I always feel pretty good doing it with paper snips, as long as I've got the back of the card to see a good straight line to follow. I can't cut a straight line unless I'm following a guide. All right, let's not put the card on upside down. All right, here is my Designer Series paper. I'm going to run some snail across the back, and we're going to cover up all that adhesive. See what I mean about finishing it so we don't have any exposed sticky parts? And I'm putting my Designer Series paper from top to bottom edge, and I'm lining up with this little detail in the Designer Series paper. That way, between the top and bottom edge being square and then following the edge of your lace pattern, that should go on pretty straight. Hi, Avenel. We're making this cute little card here. We're saying farewell to Bella and friends. There's so much retiring from this annual catalog from Stampin' Up! And I thought we were going to have a little retirement party here for Bella. All right, Bella's colored. Here's our focal image. Just adhere to the card with snail. And what I was doing here is just centering between the Coastal Cabana here and the Coastal Cabana stripe there. I've got my little Calypso Coral primitive heart, and I've got a 1/16 inch hole punch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to punch kind of a little circle left of center and right of center. So it's like a little button. Do you see that? Now you could just leave it like that. How cute would that be? Just kind of looks like a button, but I'm going to grab some linen thread and run it through those holes, tie a bow. Hey, Winnie Ann. All right. We're almost done. I'm just going to thread from front to back and then back to front. You're going to need about 6, probably 8 inches. And then at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and run my snail. You could put a couple of glue dots on the back of here if you wanted to. But I like to, I know it sounds kind of strange, but you'll see in just a minute. I haven't tied my bow yet, because if you add your adhesive and then adhere, this works for real buttons too, your button to the card, then you've got some resistance. You've got something to work with here. The whole card kind of works as an anchor for you, and it'll help you with the dexterity because your hands can hold down the whole card instead of having a little bitty button kind of, or a little piece of paper hanging on the end of the twine that you're trying to hold. Do you see what I mean? So I'm holding down the card, and then I can get in there and make my little bow instead of having that dangly piece of paper or cardstock or a button on the end of the twine. Does that make sense to you guys? When you adhere it down, it's like anchored, and it gives you more to hold on to, really. Darlene says, cute, super cute. Thank you, Darlene. All right, I'm just trimming off the excess. And there's our cards. You got a friend in me, Bella and friends. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me this holiday weekend. Happy Passover, happy Easter to everybody who's celebrating. If you got questions about the project or the retirement list, if there's anything I can do for you to keep you crafty, you guys can email me, marisa@kitchentablestamper.com. Private message me on Facebook. If you want to shop that retirement list, marisaalvarez.stampinup.net is where you can do that 24/7. Anybody curious about what's coming up in the Kitchen Table Stamper online classroom? I have a sneak peek if you're interested and want to hang around with me. All right, so let me move Bella over. I am featuring Sunny Days from the 2018-2019 catalog. This is one of my favorite stamp sets from the very start of the retiring annual catalog. I just loved it. It really appealed to me. And part of it is that little strawberry up there. I love all things strawberry, of course. If you look at kitchentablestamper.com, you can see that. So, but this just really appeals to me. I think that you can do hard things, make your dreams happen. Wishing you success and only the best with the little lemonade stand really resonates with me too. So this is a personal favorite. This class is designed from my favorites for me and really expresses my style. We're going to do 2 cards and 2 treats in this class. So here's, you can do hard things. And here's a fun little treat package that coordinates. Make your dreams happen. And inside, I don't want to give too much away, it's a fun little Russell Stover individual candy. So you can, and then our second treat is this fun little Wishing You Sunny Days Ahead box. And inside this box are lemon sandwich cookies. Right? I had to have lemon sandwich cookies. They're one of my favorites. It's so hard for me to have those in the house because I want to eat them all. All right, so there's Wishing You Sunny Days Ahead, and it's coordinated card, Wishing You Sunny Days Ahead. There is a bonus card. I'm going to open this up for registrations over the weekend. By Monday, you should be able to sign up for that. And the class is $34 if you want the stamp set and the kits, with $8 shipping if you can't do local pickup. And it is available for registration until May 13th. So look out at kitchentablestamper.com/online classroom for the Sunny Days online class. All right, if you're local and you're planning on attending the Sunny Days class, you have to RSVP by April 29th, please. And let me know so I can get your stamp sets in time for class on May 13th. So local ladies, get your registration and your payments in so that I can have your stamp sets here for you on the 13th. There is going to be an early bird bonus on this one. If you get your registrations in within the first week of being open, we're going to do this additional Wishing You Success and Only the Best card. I'll send you a kit for a 5th project if you register within the first week that it's online. Look out for that, kitchentablestamper.com/online classroom by Monday. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging with me. Have a great weekend, happy holiday, and I will see you next Friday. Bye guys, thanks.